So here we are at problem number 3F from the limits worksheet. Now we're asked to find the limit as x approaches 3 of this particular function. And if you went ahead and tried direct evaluation, what you should have ended up with is that 0 over 0 indeterminate form. And unfortunately, that's not going to quite work here. We can even try what we've done in the past, which has been factoring. And if you try that, we have x, the limit as x goes to 3 of, you can't really factor out this entire top. So you're still left with pretty much the literal exact same top. The bottom, though, can be factored. That's the difference of two perfect squares. And unfortunately, we can see right away, though, that nothing will cancel. And there is something, though, that we can do, a technique that's known as multiplying by the conjugate of this entire top. So what we're going to do is a little bit of foo-foo. In other words, you may have heard me mention that before. It's really the fancy form of 1. That's what it stands for. And pretty much all that this really means right here is we've literally divided something. Oops, this should be a plus 2. You are literally taking something and dividing it by itself. In other words, you are multiplying it by a fancy form of 1 foo. And as a result, this will actually allow us to kind of simplify this radical. It's kind of a nice way to get around that radical. So we have the limit as x approaches 3. Keep jumping ahead of myself. Limit as x approaches 3 of. Now, if we went ahead and I'll just show it for this video. If you went ahead and multiplied this first term by this first term, you'd end up with the square root of x plus 1 times the square root of x plus 1. Essentially, you're taking something under a radical and squaring it. And then when you multiply this square root of x plus 1 times the plus 2, you end up with plus 2 square root of x plus 1s. You multiply the two inner. So right now I'm just kind of doing that FOIL that we've seen in the past. And then finally the last, negative 2 times positive 2 gives us negative 4. On the bottom, I'm actually not going to go ahead and FOIL anything. I'm literally just going to leave everything like one big multiplication. So we still have x plus 3 times x minus 3 times square root of x plus 1 plus 2. And right now what you can maybe notice is that some of the things on top are actually canceling out, such as, you know, this 2 square root of x plus 1. So those will end up just dropping out. Now this guy, the square root of x plus 1, the first piece, and then that being squared, pretty much what's happening there is if you have a radical or a square root like this and it's being raised to the second power like that, you're really only left with what was underneath there, so that x plus 1. And then, again, those canceled out, and then you still have that minus 4 at the end. On the bottom, I'm literally just going to rewrite the entire same bottom. So we have that x plus 3 times x minus 3 times the square root of x plus 1 plus 2. And just kind of cleaning this up a little bit more, we end up with the limit as x approaches 3 of x minus 3 all over x plus 3 times x minus 3 times the square root of x plus 1 plus 2. And this is really why I didn't want to necessarily go ahead and distribute that bottom, because right now we can actually see that, hey, these x minus 3's can end up dropping out. And so what we're left with is actually the limit then as x approaches 3 of, since that x minus 3 canceled out with that x minus 3, really what there is, and on top at least, is that x minus 3, if I put parentheses around there, I haven't really changed anything. And also if I multiply by 1 on the outside, I haven't really changed anything. So right now we still have 1 on top because that x minus 3 canceled out, all over that x plus 3 times the square root of x plus 1 plus 2 on the bottom. And now we can go ahead and try doing our direct evaluation by substituting that value in. So when we do that, we end up with still 1 on top over 3 plus 3 times the square root of 3 plus 1 plus 2, which comes out to be 1 on top still over. 3 plus 3 would give us 6 times the square root of 3 plus 1 is just 4 plus 2. And as a result, you still end up with 1 on top over 6 times square root of 4 is just 2 plus 2. That's just 4. So it looks like we end up then with 1 over 24 as this limit. So again, that is problem 3F from the limits worksheet.